So welcome back to another webinar with CIQ. We have some friends today with us from Google, so we have an exciting announcement to make, and I will let Daniela and Venkat introduce themselves. And since we may be having a new group of people join us as well after them, Robert, Greg, would you introduce yourselves again as well? So we'll start with you, Daniela. Tell us about yourself.
Of course. My name is Daniela Herrera. I'm at Google. I am a partner operations manager in the cloud support space, and I help third parties go to market with Google and just ensure that customers have the best, most world-class experience possible. And I'm very excited to be here. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you. Venkat.
Yeah, thanks so much for having us, Zain and team. My name is Venkat Gattamneni. I lead our product management efforts on Google Cloud as it relates to operating systems. In short, my job is to make sure, and my team's job is to make sure that we provide customers a great experience for all of their different operating systems that they bring on the platform. And today, of course, I'm very excited to kind of be here and talk specifically about all the great stuff we're working on doing on Rocky Linux here with the CIQ team.
That's great. Thank you. Robert, would you like to introduce yourself again, please?
Absolutely. So I'm the Chief Product Officer for CIQ.
And Greg.
Hi, everybody. I'm Greg. I'm one of the original founders of CentOS, going way back, not to date myself too much, and founder of CIQ and Rocky Linux.
Thank you very much. So I think we should start off and just kind of explain to everybody, what are we announcing today? And then what can the customers from GCP expect from this? I'll throw that to Venkat or Daniela, whichever one of you want to start that one off.
Yeah, I can kick us off, and I'll let Daniela chime in here. This is, of course, very exciting for us to be announcing today. So fundamentally, what we have been doing undercovers for a while now, a good 6 to 8 months, we've been doing this with the CIQ team, is we're trying to build a model where customers can use Rocky Linux on the GCP platform. And should they have any issues from a support point of view, they can just lift the phone up and call Google, and we will work to support customers running Rocky on GCP or Google Cloud, and treat the support experience just as we would with any other first-party service. And I'll let Daniela sort of explain a little bit more in detail as to what that entails. So that's kind of like the primary thing we're announcing today. So, and the big value proposition for customers is that now they can run with full confidence on the platform, Rocky Linux, and bring their workloads onto the platform. And for those folks who are considering, moving away from CentOS and looking for an option, they can rest assured that this is a very, very, well-supported experience on the platform. Of course, from a support point of view, we're sharing this exciting news today. But we have a lot more that we're working on the product side as well that we'll be able to share in the next few minutes. Daniela, do you want to maybe give a quick a detailed view on what the support engagement may look like for customers?
Of course. And just plus one to everything you said, Venkat. Like you mentioned, we want customers to know that we will be providing a Google and CIQ-backed support experience for Rocky Linux. And what that means is that if a customer has a problem with their Rocky Linux that they're running on, on GCE, they'll be able to contact Google like they do for first-party products right now, and we'll take it from there. Essentially, we'll engage with CIQ as needed. And the reason we're doing this is because we want our customers to be comfortable and to, be excited about really like using Rocky Linux and make sure they're able to get the most out of it and have the most world-class experience that they can.
That's great. Thank you very much. So Greg, from a Rocky perspective, why is this so exciting?
Oh, goodness. So first off, this is exciting. Not just from a Rocky perspective, I think every perspective. This is super cool.
Absolutely.
So I'm going to kind of describe this from the community standpoint, first and foremost. What we've seen over the years is we've seen open source projects kind of come and go, and we've seen them, being led by various companies and led by various organizations. But I think I would really focus on what makes an open source project stable. And what we need right now is stability in that fundamental, foundational operating system piece. What makes it stable is not just having a single company behind that operating system. It's having a whole group, a community of individuals, of organizations, of companies, even competing organizations if we can, and pull everything together. And then that, by pulling everybody together and having that single unified commitment to that open source project, we're able to create this massive amount of stability in that project itself. And that was really our goal with what we started off trying to do and trying to solve with Rocky. And so this partnership and this collaboration, both in terms of the community and open source space, as well as now the value we can bring to that community and to customers, is just so incredibly exciting. Because what this keys in on is we can now take from the Google Cloud platform all the way up through that platform, through the operating system, to the end user customer experience. The entire thing is now supported. It is now a single unified solution. And because of that, again, yeah, it's phenomenal. So this partnership is really just first in class, customer first, which, one more point, if you don't mind me hugging the mic.
Absolutely.
It really unifies this shared vision that we have with CIQ and Google in terms of solving problems and a commitment to customers and customers first. And because of that, from the very first moment we started talking and collaborating on this, that alignment really is what just drove this commitment to bringing this forth to customers. So again, yeah, we're excited. This is awesome.
That's great. So one of the things I want to do, Greg, I think it's important because there may be people here that are GCP users today that may not know what Rocky Linux is or where it came from. So could you give us just a little bit of background on what Rocky is, where did it come from, and then kind of a little bit probably about where CentOS came from?
Yeah, I'd be happy to. So you don't need to give me a second cue to keep talking and hug the mic. And
I'll ask you one more question before we go any further on that. How should you say CentOS?
Oh my goodness, there's a whole story behind this.
Okay.
You knew that, didn't you?
Absolutely.
So the name CentOS was actually offered by one of our early, one of our co-founders, actually. So I was going to say early developers, but he was actually a co-founder. His name was Lance, and he offered up the name CentOS, and everything at that point was in IRC, the predecessor to Slack, and other chat systems.
And everything else.
And everything, yeah. And so I just saw it spelt. And I'm like, oh, that's really awesome. I love the name. And I said, but one thing, because you can kind of read it two different ways. You can read it as CentOS or CentOS, however you want to pronounce it, or it's CentOS. And I said, really don't like CentOS because I get it, it's an operating system, but you're putting a lot of emphasis on that cent piece, and cent kind of has come known to mean it's cheap, it's not expensive, but it's something. And going from nothing to something is an infinite increase. And so I said it's infinitely more expensive than actually what it is, which is free. So I said, I don't like CentOS. Now, of course, then the logo came out, and it was Cent with capital OS. So of course everybody now says CentOS. But yeah, there's.
And I'm guilty of it. I think I did it actually when I asked you to say how to say it correctly. So.
I used to like hit me every time and be like, oh gosh, you're doing it. It's been like what 16, 17 years. I've gotten over it. I'm okay with it now. However you want to say it, I'm cool with it.
All right. So from CentOS to Rocky, what is Rocky? Where did it come from?
So we founded, going back in time real quick, we founded CentOS. CentOS came to be. CentOS grew and over time became a major operating system player in the enterprise Linux space. Again, over time, Red Hat was ended up acquiring this open source project, and through that, by the way, I was not part of that decision. I was long gone in a matter of speaking out of the CentOS world before that. And so everything that CentOS came to be, in terms of how widely spread it was and whatnot, I was there for the beginning. But a big prop out to the CentOS team that has just done so much to make that such a long-term success into the ecosystem. But what ended up happening was, Red Hat ended up acquiring it. About, let's see, when was it? December 2019, I believe. Years at this point just are all big cloud, fuzzy cloud to me. Anyway, there was an announcement that CentOS was going to be end-of-lifed, and in addition to end-of-life, pivoted. And so it would end up being in front of Red Hat Enterprise Linux and then become a community portal, which is a fantastic move for Enterprise Linux and all of the Linux distributions that are taking part in the Enterprise Linux family of distributions. But that kind of key piece that we've all come to know and love is all of a sudden just kind of went poof, and it was no longer there. So within, I don't remember, I think it was an hour or two after the CentOS blog was made, I posted on there, hey, I'm thinking of doing a new CentOS. Anyone want to come and be part of that? In about two months, less than 2 months actually, there was about 10,000 members of the community that have joined up, and I think almost all of those 10,000 people, I think felt like at least they all messaged me directly because the amount of people asking to help, and we decided immediately that this is going to be a massive community project, and it really demonstrates how important CentOS is to the world, and we're just happy to be part of it. We're happy to help enable that. And one of the things that we decided, decision actually fairly early on, was that we did not want to put this into CIQ, into our company. As I mentioned before, the key to a stable community is not keeping it inside of a single company. It's to actually put it out there and grow it to where it's a community of organizations, companies, and individuals that are all part of that project. So we put it out there. We helped create the Rocky Enterprise Software Foundation, and as I said, 10,000 members of the community jumped in, joined, wanted to be part of this. We had multiple clouds want to join. Google was among the first, and vendors, IHVs, ISVs, and just this community just kept growing and just growing. We started building the operating system immediately, but it was so important that everything we do is community first. So we did not bring over any resources that pre-existed from anything else. Everything was developed from scratch, being run and developed and managed by the community itself. So it includes our build system. That includes all of the tech that we've used and all of the components that we've used in order to pull this whole thing together. So everything is out there in the community. But what that meant is it took us a few months to actually build up that infrastructure. So 4 months to build up the infrastructure, approximately. 2 months to actually then build the operating system. It's not just the 2 months to build it. We were actually working on it in parallel while we were building the infrastructure. But 2 months to actually get it to go through the infrastructure, pop out an ISO that we can actually start playing with and testing. Another month of testing. 7 months later, we actually now have an operating system, and immediately it just took off. We had a few people in media that mentioned that this was the most anticipated release of the year, and it was just, it just took off. And even since then, we're still, usually just over north of 250,000 downloads a month in terms of usage and people pulling it from our primary mirrors, from our tier 1 and on. And it's just, it just continues to grow. It continues to thrive. And we're always hearing about more vendors and organizations that are moving towards this. So it's been an absolutely exciting journey, and it's an honor to be part of it.
That's fantastic. So from a Google perspective, Venkat, how have you seen Rocky take off, or has it taken off as a part of GCP? And are you seeing larger customers start moving their operating system of choice over to Rocky?
Yeah, I think on the Google side, we have, and oh, by the way, all the mind share that Greg and the community has built up and you guys have built up, we definitely see it on our side as well. A large number of customers are using Rocky, by the way, on Google Cloud today. And if you look at these customers, there is, by the way, they're all using it for general purpose, right? There isn't like a specific use case. There are folks who are using it for high performance computing use cases. There are folks using it for their third party applications, et cetera, et cetera. So definitely we are seeing a trend of increased Rocky usage on Google Cloud. That's a very, very healthy trend in usage we're seeing. But beyond that, I think the mind share among the customer base that is already there for Rocky is mind blowing. And many customers that we're talking to today are looking for alternatives. They're still exploring and looking for alternatives. They haven't yet jumped on Rocky Linuxes yet. And as they are sort of exploring the different options, Rocky definitely is in that consideration list. In fact, I would say it's in the top of that consideration list. And for many of these customers, they are, who have not yet jumped on the Rocky bandwagon or are not using Rocky as yet, they're seriously considering it, and they're kicking the tires, if you will, right, with some of their applications. So that usually is a signal for what will follow. And in these customer conversations, a few things that are definitely coming up is, from our perspective, Google's perspective is this something that Google will stand behind from a support point of view? What does the long-term sort of roadmap look like here for, from a Google Cloud perspective? And those are kinds of things that are exciting for us to hear from customers, and that's precisely the work we're doing with CIQ here. And I have no doubt that with all the good work that you guys are doing and all the community sort of rallying behind this, and with the work that we are particularly talking about and doing here behind the Rocky experience on Google Cloud, definitely a lot more customers and large customers will start adopting, right? And of course, with CentOS 7 going end of life, etc., which is where majority of the usage is right now, we will definitely see a chunk of those folks considering Rocky and moving to Rocky as one of the credible alternatives to kind of their current operating system.
Sure, thank you. So, Robert, I'm going to pick on you next because you've been quiet this whole time. So, what are your thoughts on this partnership, and kind of what does it mean around the shared values for Google and CIQ? And I'll let Daniela and Venkat answer that as well, but please go, Robert.
Yeah, definitely. Probably from the first conversations we had with Venkat's team, we were in complete alignment on a shared vision of truly serving the customers and giving back to the community while we do that. So from the very first conversations, we've also had almost complete alignment on how to do that. So it was actually very easy to kind of figure out how to go push this into the community today, and really just start driving the adoption. One of the biggest things I think that Venkat and his team also brings is the ability now to have that level of confidence for customers to now move. There's a multiple years of commitments. There's multiple thought processes of how we're going to build this out. There's many different other value adds and capabilities we want to bring from a product perspective. So it's not just this announcement and that's it. It's a true partnership to drive back to those customer successes that we all really want to drive. And I'll leave it to Venkat and Daniela to dive in a little bit more on the how. But from a high level perspective, we're in complete alignment from day one.
Excellent. Thank you. Venkat, anything you'd like to add? Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Well, definitely. I think adding to Robert's point, I think I want to underscore the word confidence that he used. That is, I think, the foundational sort of tenet of our partnership here. We are here to together make sure that customers have the confidence on the Rocky experience we're creating on Google Cloud. And why that is so important for us as Google is because, as customers know, Google does not have a first-party operating system here. Our philosophy is to make sure that the operating systems that customers choose, we provide a rock-solid experience and confidence behind those operating systems. Now, that said, this is, of course, there is a big industry shift happening here with many customers looking for alternatives to CentOS right now. And we want to definitely make sure that the Rocky experience is an extremely credible alternative for customers to choose. And that is the core vision shared between us and CIQ here. And from a tactical perspective, in terms of things to kind of look out for, or the types of work that we'll be engaging with CIQ team to launch to customers is, we are of course announcing the support model today. But in the coming months, we will have much more to share about all the various things from a product point of view that we're doing to ensure that streamlined experience is there for customers on Google Cloud. This ranges from making tweaks, if you will, or fine tuning, if you will, to the operating system itself, to all the other tools that a customer will need in order for them to easily migrate over to Rocky, and to ensure that their workflows and applications are running in a performance-tuned and a great way on top of Rocky. So that is the kind of work we are undertaking. And of course, we also have an email alias rockylinux@google.com, which we urge customers to reach out to us, to engage with us and talk to us so we can help shape this experience, right? Hearing directly from customers. So that's my end, adding a little bit on the shared vision between the two companies.
No, that's great. Thank you. Daniela, do you have anything to add?
Just that we've been working together for, already a bit of time to get this partnership up and running. And it was very clear from the beginning how important the customer experience was and how thoughtful everybody was about, the different ways that we were going to interact and make sure that was it just kept to the highest standard possible. So I'm very excited for our partnership together, and kind of to Greg's point about giving back to the community, I think that this is a way that we can do that. Just very excited for our partnership overall.
Very good. Thank you. So Daniela, I will come back to you with the next question. And from an end user experience, or as a user of GCP, we talk about customer experience. What is the customer experience? What are they getting out of this?
Yes. So what our users are getting this is we're essentially offering the same support that we do for our first-party products and for other OS distros. So now customers that have a paid support entitlement with Google support can reach out to Google with their issue, and we'll do what needs to be done to help resolve the case after they open a case with us. So that means that we have CIQ, Rockstar, Super, Rocky Linux users that might help us on the back end. But in the end, Google will be quarterbacking that customer case from beginning to end. So our customers will know that if, they'll have a person to reach out to if there's any questions or we're very excited for that. We've made sure that the process is, again, as painless as possible. We strive for an enterprise customer experience. So that's what customers should be expecting.
Thank you. Greg, listening to all of this and talking about a very specific version of Rocky for cloud, is this in any way related to, or does it have anything to do with the SIG for cloud initiative that's happening within the Rocky community right now?
Yeah, absolutely. So what Zane is alluding to, and good thinking on that, by the way, what Zane is alluding to is we have a SIG cloud that we've spun up about a month and a half ago. As I said, time is just a complete blur for me at this point. And just to correct something I said before, I said 2019, December 2019. No. It was 2020. I got a bunch of messages of how dumb I am. So sorry about that, everybody. So we started a SIG cloud a few months ago. I'm just going to be very abstract now instead of talking specific. It was a few months ago. And the goal of this is to not only engage specifically with Google here, but to engage with all of the cloud providers and consumers and users of the different clouds to provide capabilities back into the community that would be optimal for all cloud experiences. So obviously Google is a big part of that, but so are the other clouds. And we want that level of engagement and collaboration between the different organizations. And again, this is what brings a stable open source project into being, and to maintain that is all of those different collaborations and people working together. So we're super excited about that. What we are going to be doing, and now more specifically, is we're going to be adding optimizations to Rocky. And these are going to be opt-in optimizations. And with that, we're basically going to be creating first and foremost, a Google optimized version of Rocky Linux. I keep shooting for the acronym Go Rocky for short on the Google optimized. We'll see if Google goes for that with time. But yeah, Go Rocky. The Go Rocky version will basically have cloud optimizations for Google Cloud. Those optimizations, along with other optimizations for other clouds, are all going to go into the SIG cloud, which is part of the Rocky Enterprise Software Foundation, and will be available to not only all Rocky Linux users, but all users of Enterprise Linux and all of the different variants of Enterprise Linux in that family of distributions. So again, huge amount of coolness and awesomeness all coming through the pipe, and we're just super excited about being able to bring this into the community and with our new partners, Google.
That's great. It is very exciting, guys. I think we're getting close to the end of time, and I want to open this up. If there's anything else that you guys want to talk about specifically, I'm just going to kind of go around, and I'll start with Robert because he seems to be the quietest again today. So do you have anything you'd like to close with on this?
Yeah, very simply, and Venkat reiterated it earlier, it's that confidence for customers to go put Rocky into production on Google Cloud. That is what we're trying to do. That was the ultimate goal. And I think in execution of that, Daniela and her team have designed a great model with the help of our team as well, stand behind her, to where at any level of need on Google Cloud, you'll be taken care of when it comes to the operating system and running your application. So we're super excited, and we look forward to a lot of success stories.
Thank you, Robert. Daniela, do you have any final thoughts for us?
No, just, it was great chatting with everyone, and we're super excited to hear back from the community about their thoughts. So thanks for having us.
Thank you. Venkat?
Yeah, no, I mean, first of all, I want to say a big thank you to the CIQ team here. It's been great working with the team, right, in creating the support model and all of the stuff that we're sort of talking through here. The second thing is, if especially you're a customer listening to this and you're still thinking through, hey, should I be running Rocky on Google Cloud or not? I'm hoping that we are putting sort of like that doubt to rest. We're here, we got your back from a support point of view, from product point of view, etc. And if there are certain things, by way of optimizations or things that we could do better in terms of making sure that you can run this even more confidently, please do reach out to us at rockylinux@google.com. We're here to kind of hear you and make this experience even better as we go along.
Okay. Thank you. Greg, I'll give you almost the last word.
Almost, huh?
Almost.
I just really wanted to just express my gratitude. The Google team that we've been working with, Venkat, Daniela, and everybody on your teams, it's just been fantastic. It's been a pleasure to work with you, and it is so exciting after all of the many months. Again, I'm not putting a time on it because I'll get it wrong, but the many months in terms of that we've been working together and bringing this into reality has just been super excited, and it's just exciting. It's just absolute pleasure to work with you. So thank you.
Thank you, Greg. So again, for everybody out there, if you're looking for more information on this, reach out to Google, reach out to us. Live chat's always available. There's a lot of information on the website. Send an email to rockylinux@google.com. Again, we're here for you. If you would go ahead and like and subscribe, we would appreciate it and be able to keep in touch with you guys. And I really want to thank Daniela and Venkat for spending the time. Thank you guys for coming. We really appreciate it, and looking forward to where we can go next. Thank you very much, guys. Welcome back, everyone. Venkat, Daniela, good to see you again. Robert, Greg, it's an exciting day.
Hello. It's very weird to watch a webinar of myself and others. Well, others, it's great to watch them, but it's weird to watch me.
Absolutely, absolutely.
I think we traded shirts, by the way.
We did, yeah. I went with a different one. I figured that many days in a row I would start to have issues.
TMI.
Yeah. So I see that we have a couple questions. Thank you, Mr. Yarrow. It's been a long time. It's good to see you again. John's asking about what are the differences between Red Hat, so RHEL, and Rocky on GCP. So I'll let you guys give it a shot, or you can answer that, or I'll take it. How do you want to approach that? I guess we'll start with Venkat.
Yeah, I can take a stab at it, and we'll look to Robert and Greg to kind of, talk about the specific differences between the actual operating systems, right? Red Hat and Rocky. Now, as far as Google Cloud is concerned, I said in the webinar, right? Our philosophy is to make sure that we create a great experience for you, no matter your sort of operating system. So, of course, if Red Hat is a choice for you, then that is very well supported on the platform today. We have optimized images for Red Hat pay-as-you-go on a pay-as-you-go basis for your licensing. Of course, you can bring your images on as well. But if you're looking at Rocky Linux as an alternative to your CentOS usage or your general purpose applications, that is what we are creating a great experience here with CIQ team. So from a Google point of view, we love all workloads. We love all Linux workloads and all general OS workloads, and we want to make sure that we continue to kind of up the game in providing a great experience for customers across the different distributions customers have. But I'll look to Greg and Robert to maybe talk about some of the finer differences, right, between the two distributions.
Hopefully none. At a high level view, the goal of Rocky is to be there. There's bit for bit compatible and there's bug for bug compatible. We aim for both of those. So we're looking for API, ABI compatibility. Is close to legally the exact same experience that you get on one enterprise Linux version compared to another enterprise Linux version of a Linux distribution. That's our goal. Our goal is to see no differences between Red Hat, between Rocky, or any of the other distributions within the enterprise Linux family.
Great. Thank you. So John's got another question. He's asking about how does Rocky play with DevOps tools? This is a pretty broad statement because I think there's a lot of different DevOps tools that we could talk about, but I think the ones that come to mind for me are really around configuration management, and they play great with Rocky. If it works with RHEL or the other RHEL variants, it does really well. I think, Greg, you probably have something to say about that as well.
Yeah, I would basically just poke at the same point, which is the same exact tools that you're using for Red Hat, for any of your enterprise Linux family of distributions are going to work on Rocky in exactly the same way. And if it doesn't, pretty much that's a bug. Let us know. It'll get fixed. But everything that you're currently doing, the goal of this is to have almost no transition issues going from one to the next. So just to have a completely smooth, compatible experience as you change from CentOS, as CentOS has gone end of life, to Rocky. That's the goal. So what you're currently doing on Red Hat, what you're currently doing on CentOS, it would be very surprising if any of it does not work in exactly the same way. And if you find that it doesn't work in the same way, let us know. This is part of why this partnership is so amazing. Let us know, and we will work on it, and we will help you.
Thank you. So, Greg, I know that you've received this question this morning, but I'll ask Venkat the question. How does this change the freely available images that are out there for Rocky on GCP?
It doesn't change anything. In fact, I would say if folks are ready and want to try Rocky today and want to use Rocky on Google Cloud today, the images are there. And all we're doing today is making sure that for folks who use that, if they have a support entitlement with Google, they can call Google and get support. That's what is actually changing. It's an add-on on top of existing Rocky images, and all the additional sort of like changes that we're making or optimizations we're making. We're planning on launching those in the coming months. And as and when we launch, we'll make sure that there's a seamless transition, right, for customers who want to opt into those sort of options as we make those optimizations and so on and so forth. So by no means I want to kind of like say that, hey, wait for more things coming. No, the images that are there today, go and use them. They're already fine-tuned and built for a great experience on Google Cloud.
I'd just add in real quick that this is a benefit for the community. This is I've kind of mentioned it, on the recorded session of this, But this is a huge benefit for the community to have multiple organizations, again, kind of stepping up to offer support, offer services around Rocky Linux, and to really ensure the success and the wonderful experience, turnkey experience of Rocky Linux. So we are very excited about this. So it's a fantastic step in my mind for enterprise level customers and consumers who really want to count on open source and community as that base foundation.
Great. Thank you, Greg. Anyone else have something else they'd like to add to that? If not, I have another question. All right. So Forrest actually brought up a really good point. Since we are really an HPC focused company, can we talk about how this partnership will impact that kind of the HPC computing when it comes to GCP? Robert?
I was going to say, who are you calling on, Zane?
I think Robert's a great one for that one.
So obviously, we'll have optimizations that we'll be able to provide for that specifically. That is obviously something that we're talking to Venkat and his team for down the road of further integrations and further optimizations. And that will definitely be a big part of that. I think every customer probably cares about performance, and every customer probably cares about being able to run their specific workloads up on GCP. So we have an aim to optimize any and all of those workloads, never mind just HPC.
Great. Thank you very much. I don't see any more questions coming in. Would anybody like to just throw out some last thoughts here before we wrap it up? Other than we're all excited and we really appreciate the time.
Can we talk a little bit about, no, this is completely ad hoc, so apologies. Can we talk a little bit about timeline and when customers can expect to see certain capabilities kind of coming down and being available? I think Venkat's pulling up document.
my roadmap of various things. So I would say, we're talking of weeks to months, from a time frame perspective in starting to launch some of these optimizations we're talking about. Today, we don't have anything specific to announce on that, but to say that any optimizations that we're sort of thinking through are going to be in close concert with what customers are telling us. In fact, I would flip this back and say, hey, please reach out to us, because we're actively sort of planning all these things, optimizations and features. And the first round of these, I do expect they will start coming in the next few months. And then definitely it's going to be rolling thunder, right? The work is not going to get done in a few months. This is a long-term sort of relationship and commitment, right, between the two companies to kind of make sure we continuously hear and iterate on the experience from customers. So a lot to expect here. But I would say months. Sort of weeks to months sort of time frame.
I'd also add to that the SIG cloud is already in progress. So if there is anyone out there that actually wants to join, wants to help be part of this, as I mentioned before, many of the other clouds are already involved with this. We do want to have more representation from enterprise consumers and customers as well as part of that special interest group. So please do join the Mattermost, reach out to us, contact us, and get involved. We'd love to have more people involved, more organizations, and input.
Absolutely. Well, guys, I appreciate you coming back and joining us for this quick Q&A. Again, really excited about the partnership and looking forward to see where we go next. If you guys would look and like and subscribe, we'd really appreciate you keeping in touch with us, and we'll look forward to more announcements and stuff going on in the future with Google. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.